There's a favorite quote of mine that I just came across from Martin Luther. He said, if we preach the gospel without addressing the issues of our day, we are not preaching the gospel at all. So that means that I not only have to tell people the basics of the gospel, which is faith in Jesus Christ for salvation, but I have to integrate that into every aspect of life. So to our congregation, I say, look, that means on the political line of things, run for office. Be a godly man or woman who wants to represent your community or your district or whatever it might be, and run for office. Christians should be engaged. The First Amendment was not intended to keep the church out of government. The First Amendment was intended to keep government out of the church. So I try to remind people, look, get engaged, run for office, pray for your elected leaders, whether you voted for them or not, and then continue to live out your faith like salt and light. Like we have to permeate the culture like salt and light. That's how they can make a difference. So for the person who says, I can't really run for office, okay, fine. I'm not called to do that either. But you can at least pray for your elected leaders, and you can live out your faith in a way that is impactful because you're just being salt and light in the community. So we've got a mandate, the mission to win people to Christ, go into all the world. And that's practical as well as spiritual. So we have to just be the church and be faithful to the mission. I think the biggest challenge is, how do you speak the truth seasoned with grace? If you err too much on the side of grace, then you're not really helping people to understand the truth. If you're heavy only on the truth and you don't show grace, then people will feel like you're just clobbering them. So it really is a delicate balance of, and Paul, when you look at the epistles, he often wrote, and he wrote in this order, grace and truth. So we have to lead with grace, but we have to speak truth because our culture needs to hear it like never before. There's so much confusion. We're living in the days of Isaiah 5, where Isaiah talked about, good being called evil, evil being called good, substitute light for darkness, darkness for light, bitter for sweet. And so because we're living in a time of such confusion, church leaders must be truthful to speak truth into the confusion, but we have to always season it with grace so that people can see and hear and understand our heart that we love them because God loves them. But to not speak the truth is not really loving people, in my opinion. And that's why, to sound cliche, that's why Jesus said, if you know the truth will set you free. If I want people in our church who come in confused from the culture to really be free, I have to be willing to tell them the truth. And truth by itself is exclusive and can sometimes be offensive just because of the nature of saying something that is true. So it takes a delicate walk these days to really help people understand, here's what the truth is, season it with grace, but don't compromise the truth. People need to hear it.